name is Cedar Bowers. I am currently a part-time Galiano Island resident. I divide my time between here and Victoria, but I grew up on Galiano Island. I attended school here and I went to high school on Salt Spring at GISS. And I've come back and lived here at various times throughout my adult life as well, most recently for a few years, and my eldest child attended school here. I still spend as much time as possible on the island and I consider it my home. Thank you, Galiano Community Library, for inviting me to be a part of this reading series. I'm a new writer, so thanks for thinking of me. I started writing in my early 30s. For the last 10 years, I guess, I've been writing fiction, some short fiction, but mostly I've been working on my first novel, which will be coming out next year in June 2021. The title is ASTRA, and so maybe you'll see it around on island. Today I'm going to read a short story called The Same Cabin that was published in Taddle Creek magazine in summer 2018. It's a story about a Vancouver woman who has 2 young children and she is struggling, and the internet has convinced her that all she needs is to rent an Airbnb and go to a Gulf Island for a few days for everything to get better. The Same Cabin. My partner travels to various places for work by plane, while I stay at home snack fetching, peacemaking, coffee drinking, wine sipping, and sending texts to people who have more pressing things to do than to answer them. During the daylight hours, while taking care of the kids, I fantasize about the night, yet when it arrives, I do nothing valuable with the time. Sometimes I press my face to the cool, single-pane window in my living room, look outside at the streetlights and steady traffic. Sometimes I lick the glass, try to taste life through it, but I can't go out there, of course. It's illegal to leave your children in a house alone, so I turn to the internet instead. I spend most of my time reading about Sonia. I look at her Twitter, her Facebook, and then I Google her too. I read her posts and every article she shares. I analyze what her friends are saying and their replies. I click hearts. I type, "What? You're amazing." Of course I'm proud of her, but mostly I comment to ensure that Sonia and the internet don't forget who I am, that they don't forget about my potential in case one day I stumble across it again. But reading about smart, accomplished people always feels terrible, and eventually I manage to pull myself away by opening an Airbnb tab instead, and I browse vacation rentals on the nearby Gulf Islands as a way to escape. I scroll past photos of tiny cabins with ladders, lofts, macrame wall hangings, and outdoor showers. I scroll past beachfront top-floor suites, bouquets of lavender and antique mason jars, and the steaming waters of a cedar hot tub rising into a canopy of evergreens. I scroll past fire pits, mini fridges, 2-burner stovetops, modern fold-out sofas, and sun-pooled decks with cherry red Adirondack chairs arranged to face the view. I scroll past converted garages with aloes on the countertop, rock gardens, and local art on the walls. I memorize maps and measure walking distances. I take guest reviews seriously. I save my favorite cabins, revisit their listings, and watch their calendars fill over time. This isn't healthy, I know, but I'm convinced a solo vacation is all I need to find myself again. Over the years, fantasizing about this trip, I'd envisioned closing the front door, turning the key, locking my family inside, click. As I rolled my luggage towards the bus, my vacation would officially start. Instead, after I take the plunge and finally book 2 nights away, my partner offers to drive me to the ferry. I have a hard time saying no to pretty much anything, especially acts of kindness, so I accept. He picks the playlist while I buckle the kids in. Right away, my youngest starts crying because we forgot her ladybug water bottle, and I spend most of the drive turned around in my seat, passing them snacks and picking up items they drop on the floor. At the terminal, after we kiss, my partner says, "I hope you have a wonderful time." And I thank him, though after, while buying my ticket at the kiosk, I can't stop thinking about how he'd said it. with such gentleness, like I might break. And suddenly, this whole idea of escaping them and sleeping alone in a little cabin seems tokenistic and childish and privileged and pathetic and even, mostly, scary. I begin to worry that when I return home, nothing will be different. That I won't be like Sonia. I won't come back with something to show for it. That my life will only resume. I push these thoughts aside and board the ferry. After years perusing images of woodsy cabins with their ocean view decks, their cozy comforters, and gardens in spring bloom, I'm disappointed by the small, ordinary road that leads from the ferry and the blinking neon sign above the general store. But I need wine and food, so I roll my luggage past the gas pumps where a muddy minivan with darkened windows has just parked. A woman, my age, climbs from the driver's seat and I hear children screaming inside. She slams the van door, muffling the noise, and smiles at me as I pass. In the store, I find everything on the shelves is also ordinary. The same salami and earthbound organic produce you find in the city. The same low-priced wines. I'd envisioned forage things, hand-picked mushrooms and artisanal sausage. This is an island. Disappointed, I choose 2 cans of soup, some crackers, and a loaf of bread. I stand in line behind the mother with the minivan, but she ushers me ahead. I'm not in a rush, she explains. And I get it. Her children are screaming out there in the van while she steals a moment of peace in the brightly lit store, hugging a sweating jug of milk. She is refilling her tank, too. Thank you. If you want to read the rest of the story, you can find it on the Taddle Creek website. And thank you, Galiano Island Community Library.